Well, here we are again, friends of the Co-Cathedral. Here we are again, and also not again, because this is the first time that I'm coming to you as rector of the Co-Cathedral during the season of Advent. And we're celebrating that, as you can see, with the Advent wreath right next to me. And I thought then that today, a nice topic to talk about a little bit is Advent. What is Advent all about? I know when I was a kid growing up, Advent was basically about Christmas being near. When I went to church and saw that Advent wreath, or when we put it up at home, I knew that Christmas was less than 4 weeks away. And of course, as a kid, that's very exciting. It was only later on that I realized that there's also another dimension to Advent that's very important, especially a dimension that is very prominent in the earlier weeks of Advent. By all means, Advent is about preparing us for Christmas, for the celebration of the incarnation of Christ coming amongst us and showing his love to us. But in the first few weeks of Advent, there's actually a slightly different emphasis. Now, what is that? Well, the very word Advent gives us a little clue. The word, it comes from a Latin word, it just means coming, basically. And so it's a celebration, it's a preparation for Jesus' second coming, for his return. The opening weeks of Advent are about preparing ourselves for that moment when, as we say in the Creed, he will come again to judge the living and the dead, so that we can be ready for that moment, because we don't know when it's going to come. Admittedly, it's been 2,000 years since the first coming, so sometimes we could think he's delayed, but at any moment he could come. He could come in his glory to bring us the fullness of salvation. And we want to be prepared for that. We want to be ready for that, to receive the great gift that he wants to bestow upon us when he brings his plan of salvation to fulfillment. And so that's why in these opening weeks of Advent, especially, for example, on the first Sunday of Advent, which we just celebrated, the gospel is really about the coming of the Son of Man, the return at the end of time of Jesus. It's only later on, it's only really with especially December 17th, that the focus shifts to preparing to celebrate the first coming. That's then when the readings in our liturgy shift more intensely to, for example, the texts about the moments which preceded Jesus' birth. For example, the Annunciation to Mary, the Annunciation to Zechariah about the birth of John the Baptist that would be the forerunner to the birth of Jesus. That's the moment when we really start to prepare ourselves for Christmas. And so Advent has this sort of dual character oriented around the coming of Jesus. Yes, we want to prepare to celebrate his first coming, but also we're preparing for his second coming, when that's going to take place, whenever it will be. So then the question arises, well, how do we do that? How do we prepare to receive Jesus at the end of time? How do we also prepare to celebrate his first coming, which occurred in history 2,000 years ago? Well, I'm going to take a page from Bernard of Clairvaux. There's actually a third coming. Oh yes, that's right. What does Bernard say? He says there's a third coming. It's not sequentially third. It's between the two. It's between the first coming that happened 2,000 years ago and the final coming. It's the coming that occurs in our daily lives. It's the coming that occurs in our lives of holiness, of discipleship, in our lives of prayer. Jesus today, this very day, wants to come to you and to me with his grace and his love. That's how we prepare for the celebration of Christmas. That's why we prepare for the second coming at the end of time, by opening ourselves up to his coming in mystery, sometimes in hiddenness, sometimes in great quiet. And so during these Advent days, I'd really encourage all of you to take some extra time for prayer, for reflection, to ask yourself, how is Jesus coming to me this day? One of my goals for Advent, which admittedly hasn't quite happened yet, was myself to take a little bit extra time for prayer, for quiet, for reflection, beyond what I normally do in the course of the regular year. Again, hasn't quite happened, but it's early, so I still have hope. When we do that, when we allow ourselves to savor the presence of Christ in our lives, when we allow ourselves to recognize that he is coming to us, in so many beautiful and sundry ways, then it lifts us up. It fills us with life. It fills us with light. It fills us with a readiness to be his witnesses, to be his missionaries in the world, because we see the richness of his love for us. We see how he came amongst us, first 2,000 years ago, to free us from sin, to show us the richness of God's love, how he will come to reveal in all its glory and all its beauty his plan for creation and bring harmony and peace to all the world, and how even now, this very day, he brings that project of harmony, of unity, a little bit closer to its fullness by coming to each one of us. So my prayer for you this Advent, and frankly for me as well, is that all of us will be attentive, will be open to those comings of Christ that happen in the midst of our everyday lives, those comings that lift us up, that fill us with life, that prepare us, yes, for the second coming, absolutely, and also for the coming that we celebrate at Christmas, so that we might be mindful of his goodness, his love that encompasses us, that enfolds us at each and every moment.